Hey, welcome if you're new here. Today I wanted to talk about something that is super important that I think a lot of people have lost, and that is the need for more playfulness. I want to ask you a question here to start, and I want you to think about the answer and imagine what it's like to watch a child play, completely lost in the moment, laughing as if the world around them just doesn't even exist. And I'm sure you see it, but what if I told you that this simple act of play can unlock a deeper understanding of yourself and your entire place in the universe? The art of playfulness that 99% of adults have almost completely forgotten about. So that's why today we're going into the transformative power of playfulness and how to reconnect with your true nature. But first, a story of playfulness. Well, a story of lost playfulness. Let me take you back to a small town, sort of small, where I grew up. There was a little girl, let's call her Maya. She lived on my street, and she had this extraordinary ability to find joy in everything. Whether we were jumping in the puddles after a rainstorm or we were creating fantastical worlds, she embraced each moment with pure and unfiltered delight. Her laughter almost echoed through the neighborhood, and she had this melody that drew others, and it definitely sparked a sense of community around there. But as we grew up and we grew a little older, the pressures of school and the society, it crept in, and the carefree days of childhood gave way to the weight of expectations, because I watched as she gradually faded into the background, exchanging her laughter for seriousness, her creativity for conformity. And where once there was joy, there was now a veneer of responsibility, and it seemed like Maya had this mask she definitely wore just to fit in with the adult world. I specifically remember how Maya had been constantly pressured by her academic parents to be perfect in school, like straight A perfect. And Maya faded out. I don't remember much until years later I ran into her at a local cafe. She had changed. Her vibrant spirit was completely dim. She was weighed down with responsibilities and expectations. Her eyes, which were once bright with wonder, now reflected the fatigue of a life lived under the constant pressures of adulting. She fit in with the adult. And in that moment, I realized something vital, that we often forget how to play completely as we age. We trade the spontaneity for structure, the creativity for practicality, and in doing so, I think we lose touch with our true selves. So let's just go into key point number one, the essence of playfulness. What is it? What is playfulness? Playfulness is not just an act, it is a state of being. It invites us to step away from the burdens of life and embrace the lightness that comes with living authentically. You could imagine playfulness as a gentle breeze that carries the scent of blooming flowers. It refreshes the spirit and reminds us that life is not solely about work or obligations. Just as a river flows so effortlessly around rocks, playfulness helps us navigate any obstacle in our lives. I like to think of it as a dance, and I like to look at people and couples, imagine them at a wedding, caught in the rhythm of the music, moving freely, lost in the joy of the moment. Their bodies sway and twist, each movement and expression of their emotions. But in contrast, when we become rigid, adhering strictly to societal norms, we stumble through life like robots, missing this rhythm that makes everything worthwhile. And this essence is vital. It's vital for our well-being. It invites curiosity. It encourages us to explore and discover new facets of ourselves and everything around us. By embracing the playfulness, we tap into this reservoir of energy, of creativity, of joy. It allows us to flourish. Which brings me to point number two, rediscovering awareness. In our quest for seriousness, we often lose awareness of the present. I will emphasize that playfulness is deeply intertwined with our own awareness. It asks us to be mindful, observant of the world with very fresh eyes, just as children do. Thinking back to Maya, when she played, she was acutely aware of every little detail. The way sunlight glinted off the water or how the wind rustled through the trees. And this awareness, it allowed her to experience life fully, to savor each moment as if it were a rare and sacred treasure. As adults, we need to practice this kind of mindfulness. We need to plant seeds, but we can't forget to water the seeds because they will wither away. Similarly, our lives, our playfulness require nurturing through awareness. When we embrace playfulness, we water the seeds of joy and creativity within us. Playful activities such as doodling, dancing, belly singing, being silly, or even trying a new hobby. This will encourage us to be present, and they will help us reconnect with our senses, experience the world anew. Imagine a child marveling at a butterfly's wings, seeing not just a creature, but this vibrant tapestry of colors and patterns. This level of awareness It enriches our lives and it'll allow us to discover so much beauty in the mundane. Which brings me to number 3 on why it's so difficult to see beauty in the mundane. And that is point number 3, breaking free from constraints. So life is filled with constraints, whether they come from our jobs, our relationships, expectations. I suggest that embracing playfulness at any level can help you break free from these shackles, even while you're performing the role of a person in those shackles. So picture a bird in a cage. Though it is fed and cared for, it longs to spread its wings and soar. That is you longing to be playful. One day, the cage door is left open. The bird hesitates, torn between safety and freedom. Eventually, it takes a leap of faith. And guess what? It discovers the exhilarating joy of flight. In our lives, our own lives, we often feel or find ourselves in similar cages, bound by fear, obligation, or perceived expectations of other people. But we have to be like that bird, willing to take risks and explore the unknown. Because when we engage in playful activities, be it art, dance, just goof around, being goofy, we dismantle the walls we've built around ourselves. Consider an adult who has always wanted to dance. That was me before. I was scared to dance all through middle school, all through high school. I thought I sucked and I was so scared of the fear of judgment, held back by the fear of judgment. And I didn't attend a dance class, but I simply danced for hours in meditation in my living room up here and broke free from the constraints of that self-consciousness just by dancing. Now I can dance in public. Now I don't care what people think of me as I move. I skateboard around my block at full speed with my dog, laughing my ass off now. It liberates the spirit and fosters a sense of empowerment and joy. So embracing playfulness, it encourages us to step outside of our comfort zone, of course, and challenge any norm that comes away. But with this, you're going to experience life way more fully. And you need to reclaim your right to explore, to express yourselves without fear. Discover the thrill of spontaneity, which brings me to point number 4, where we can connect through play. Because playfulness is what really fosters connection, not only with ourselves, but with other people too. I encourage you to engage in activities that cultivate joy and build relationships based on authenticity rather than obligation. Think about a group of friends gathered for a game night where laughter fills the room as they share stories and compete in good spirit. Because in those moments, barriers dissolve and genuine connections emerge. This is way more fulfilling than going out to bars or clubs, but that's another subject. You can still have fun there too, and you can get really silly there too. I'm not saying you can't. When we engage in playful interaction though, we invite this sense of vulnerability, which paves the way for the deeper connection. Think of a team building a retreat where coworkers are encouraged to play games as they laugh, compete, and collaborate. They begin to see each other not just as colleagues, but as individuals with unique stories and unique perspectives. The shared playfulness, it'll foster trust and camaraderie, enhancing both personal and professional relationships. Playfulness is communicating on a different level. It breaks down these formalities and allows us to express our true selves. When we're playful, we're more open to sharing our fears, our dreams, our quirks, which creates a sense of belonging and understanding between us. In a world where relationships can sometimes feel transactional and obligatory, embracing playfulness allows us to cultivate connections that are super enriching. It transforms our interactions from mundane exchanges into joyous celebrations of life. I have clients that I work with. I run a local business here, and I'll see clients from time to time, and I will be playful with them just to see how they react. And 9 times out of 10, I will get a wonderful reaction from these clients, and I feel closer to them, and our communication afterwards opens up and it feels so much more open. It deepens your bonds. Point number 5 I'm going to make is embracing the entire journey. Finally, playfulness teaches us to embrace the journey rather than fixate on a destination, really. Sometimes we need to be reminded that life is not a race. It is a series of experiences meant to be savored, like a road trip. And if you're only focused on reaching your destination, you might miss the beauty of the entire journey. The roadside diners, the stunning landscapes, the spontaneous adventures that come with the road trip. Playfulness invites us to appreciate the moments along the way. Maya's story, it echoes this lesson. She did end up rediscovering a love for painting, and she stopped worrying about her art being good enough. Instead, she focused on the joy of creating. And I like to think of each brush stroke as a celebration of life itself. And hopefully she is too, but she's enjoying it either way. So there is a good ending to that story. Imagine us embarking on a hike where the goal is to reach the summit. But if you rush to the top, you're gonna miss all those flowers blooming along the trail. You're not gonna hear the birds or the laughter shared with any friends. So playfulness encourages us to slow down, to notice, to engage fully with each moment, rather than merely checking things off of a checklist, which is what people like to do. Embrace playfulness because it'll allow you to experience life with a sense of wonder, take some detours, explore new paths, appreciate the unexpected twists and turns that life has to offer. And this is just a reminder of that. By letting go of the need for perfection or a specific outcome, we open ourselves up to the joy of exploration and discovery. And in conclusion, this embracing of our true nature, which I do feel as playfulness and witness as playfulness, it's not merely an activity, but it's a vital component of our being. It reconnects with our essence, enhances our awareness, and liberates us from constraints. So I invite you to reflect on your own life, and I'm asking, when was the last time you allowed yourself to be really playful? What would it look like if you were to embrace your playful side a little bit more? Take a moment to think about activities that bring you joy and could be playful. Dancing, playing games, simply being silly with friends. Playfulness is not just a childhood trait. It's a fundamental aspect of what we are. By embracing it, we unlock a world of possibilities, creativity, and connection. Let us strive to rediscover the joy of play, and infuse our lives with lightness that comes from being truly alive. Until next time, hit that subscribe, and I'll see you later.